So now that we have all three of the various parts of the Song of the Hero from the Water, Fire, and Thunder Dragon, it's now time to head back to Levias. So he's here in Thunderhead. You can find him on your map if you're having trouble. He'll move around though as he flies around. But you want to just fly on over with your loft wing and basically just land on top of his head on that platform that Link can stand on. So just jump off and you can talk to him here. So you might have thought we were done with these trial gates and the Silent Realms, but turns out we've got one more, and it's right here in the sky actually. In fact, at the main island of Skyloft. I know a lot of fans were like upset. They like couldn't believe that Nintendo actually included another Silent Realm, since I don't know, I guess most people didn't really enjoy it. I thought it was fine. I thought this was okay. I was surprised. I thought this was kind of late in the game for it, but oh well. The trial gate's right here by the light tower, so just pull out your harp, and just like before, you want to strum away to the pacing, and this will basically open up the gate, or initiate the trial gate. I don't really know if the Silent Realm in the Skyloft is actually more difficult than the Elden region. I personally thought that I thought this was not as hard as the Elden one. Maybe it was just because it's more dense, it's smaller, it's more in line with the Farron in Lanayru Silent Realms, as opposed to the like very long and huge area to traverse that was the Elden region. But hey, that's just my opinion. This particular tier here is a little difficult. There's the Watchers that just basically move in a circle here, but they occasionally move in closer to each other, and then they spread apart. You want to stand in the middle. You're safe in the middle, so don't be afraid to sort of, well, just stay right in the middle. There was a dusk relic here actually, but I guess it's kind of random as to when it appears. Sometimes it doesn't. There's some waking water over here, which you want to be careful for, and I completely forgot about it, and I just ran right into the waking water. But I think I should be fine, as there's a nearby tier right here in the graveyard. My word of advice would be to get all of the tiers at the east end of Skyloft, in basically the residential area. I just find those to be I don't know, I think they're a little more difficult. Granted, I think the most difficult ones are probably the ones near the Knight Academy, and I usually save those till the end for some reason though, but you could get those first as well. Usually I think it's better to get the ones that are harder first, but I don't know, they're sort of in the distance and you gotta get some of the early ones first, so anyway, it's really up to you. There's one up here by the light tower, and this one could be a little complicated to get. There's also an amber relic back here, so or not an amber relic, a dusk relic. So you can pick those up, but as I've mentioned, I think during every single Silent Realm, there's a bit overkill in terms of the number of them. I guess they put extra ones in the Silent Realm, with the idea being that everybody's not going to need all of them. But I completely botched that one there, because I didn't realize that Watcher was actually he was one of the ones that if you move in close proximity to it, that Watcher will target you, not just if you're in the light. Anyway, I sort of got lucky because there was a Guardian right there, but I guess it didn't strike me. But you want to be a little careful around the light tower. That's one of the more difficult ones. There's another dust relic here by the windmill, and then just above it, pretty much, right over here, there's this is a little tricky to get to this one, because the Watcher sort of patrols the area, and it looks like you're gonna get caught, but the Watcher doesn't actually make it all the way to the ledge, so you'll be fine. You can collect a couple of other dusk relics in this area. In general, it's a good idea. I've sort of mentioned this in the previous Silent Realms, that you don't want to always get the easy ones right away. In fact, sometimes it's best to preserve some of the easy ones, just it sort of gives you that extra time. Like in particular, I didn't pick up that one because I still have plenty of time in terms of my little flower at the top left corner. So there's no need to waste that one then, because I can pick that up on the way back from this little region here. So sometimes it takes some trial and error. There's some strategy in terms of the order you get them in, or which ones you want to try to preserve, and it all depends on well, how experienced you are with it. I mean, you instinctively just get them like as soon as you see them the first time you're playing the game, but you know, if you've failed a couple of times, then you start to get an idea of where they are, so it sort of changes your strategy a little bit. Anyway, I got 3 of them remaining, 2 of which are right near the Knight Academy, and 1 of which is sort of between the Knight Academy and the Bazaar. As I sort of mentioned, I think at least the one of them by the Knight Academy is probably the trickiest to get, or I don't really know if it's tricky or that it just takes extra patience, and I'm sort of guessing, but I think a lot of fans, a lot of players will have trouble with this one, since they'll try to like aggressively pursue it, and they'll get caught by the Watcher, and well, yeah, you know what happens from there. I kind of like that you have to go in this direction, because this is what you did at the very beginning of the game, literally the beginning of the game, where you had to save the cat. So it's like we've come full circle. The very beginning of the game, and now this is pretty much towards the end of the game. But so there's this box here that you need to push in order to reach the tier. You could be on the other side and you could pull it, but the Watcher here patrols, and he patrols rather quickly, so you want to be careful. Don't get over anxious and like try pushing or pulling it 4 or 5 times in a row. So push it, pull it, get out of the way, push it, pull it, get out of the way. Afterwards, you want to collect the final tier, or for me the final tier was this one right by near the Bazaar, and that's pretty much it for the Silent Realm, the final Silent Realm. It's a pretty straightforward path from here to the initial trial gate. There's really no obstacles in your way, so run on over, and well, you've completed the final Silent Realm. It's also worth noting that you could actually replay the Silent Realms over at the Thunder Dragon's Lightning Round as well, and you can get treasures as rewards, and it's more of a competition in terms of the time trials that you can get with friends and such. And your reward is the Stone of Trials. It's kind of random, obscure, like we don't really know what it means, but it turns out we need it. It basically serves as a key of sorts in order to enter the final dungeon of the game. We're pretty much ready to go in terms of the final dungeon. If you haven't collected all the gratitude crystals, I'd suggest going back, or if you want to pick up any additional heart pieces, or if there's any of the goddess treasure chests you have to pick up, or the goddess cubes you have to activate, I'd suggest doing all of that right now. I'm going to make a few stops here just before heading to the dungeon. In particular, I'm just going to go and re-enter the Bazaar. If you noted, during the last video, I actually won the Hylian Shield from the Thunder Dragon's Lightning Round. However, I never actually picked it up. So I'm going to head over to the Bazaar, and Batrio is actually here too. So as I sort of mentioned, you'll find him here in the Bazaar for the remainder of the game. And I guess folks are no longer scared of him. But if you haven't upgraded your items, in particular I would say the bow and arrow, the sacred bow, that's probably one item that it's probably worth upgrading. At this point you don't really need any of the medals other than, I'd say, perhaps the heart medal. You certainly want both of the life medals though, but you don't need any of the shields either, so you can really just fill up your basically your adventure pouch with the quiver upgrade is a good idea. You could fill it up with the bomb or the bomb upgrade as well. Other than that, just bottles. You can use bottles, you can fill them up with potions, and that's pretty much one thing that I've never really done throughout the entirety of the game. I didn't buy any potions other than initially, but it's a good idea to purchase some potions, as you'll probably need them for the latter, the final dungeon or the final boss, especially if this is your first time playing the game, and you know the final boss could be tricky. The pair of bosses, there's multiple bosses, and even a challenge leading up to the boss. Basically, the end of the game is difficult, and you very likely will need either some fairies or potions. So it's a good idea to pick up some potions, purchase them from the potion shop, and even upgrading them. I never really upgraded any potions throughout the entire game, even though I was spending a lot of time catching bugs. That was more just to show people where the bugs were. But you certainly want to buy potions and upgrade them if you'd like. It's also worth noting that you'll actually be able to return to the bazaar after the next dungeon. It's kind of strange, where the final bosses are not really attached to the last dungeon. So you saw I upgraded the quiver. I do use quite a few arrows in the last area leading up to the final bosses. So it's a good idea if you'd like. That's completely optional. You don't in fact even need any arrows in that section at all. It's really just a helpful item to have. So I have the revitalizing potion, although that's no longer very useful considering I have the Hylian Shield. However, if you do not have the Hylian Shield, I'd highly recommend upgrading it, as it not only restores your shield, but it also restores your hearts. And you can upgrade it multiple times so that you can have multiple uses of the potion. Basically, almost every potion, you have the standard version, and then you have the potion plus, and then the potion plus plus. Kind of strange, but yeah. There's really no reason to get blue potion. Blue potion is just air potion, more or less, and we're not going to be underwater pretty much, so that's kind of useless. The guardian potion is very useful. It costs 200 rupees though, and basically this halves the amount of damage you receive for a period of time, so it's clearly the most valuable potion, at least in my opinion. So you definitely want to pick it up. Stamina potion is actually useful. You could use stamina potion in the final area, basically leading up to the final bosses. I sort of mentioned it, that's where I'm going to be using my upgraded quiver. Stamina potion could be very useful there as well, so I would recommend that. Other than that, I would recommend red, like life heart potions. That's probably the best way to go as the other alternative, and you could fill up 2-3 bottles of red potion if you'd like. But you could upgrade the guardian potion as well if you'd really like to. It's really up to you in terms of what potions you want, what potions you need. You don't need any of them, I should say, but you're probably going to want a couple of them at least for the final bosses. So I'm gonna just finalize my upgrading of potions, and then we're pretty much ready for the final boss, or I should say the final dungeon. Luckily, we don't have much place to go, really. It's right here in Skyloft, and in fact, we're still, I know you might have lost sight of the endgame goal here, but even from a couple chapters ago, the goal was to find the Triforce, and we sort of got sidetracked, or we went on a fetch quest of sorts just to get the Song of the Hero. We had to go through the 3 regions, but now we finally know the Song of the Hero that led to the trial gate. Now that got us that item, and now that's going to lead to the next dungeon, which contains the Triforce. So it's really a long way to go, but you sort of don't think, oh, I gotta do all this stuff just to get the Triforce. Like, I think a lot of people had that feeling in the Wind Waker, in the Triforce chart search, and then actually getting all the various pieces of the Triforce. They did it very well in Skyward Sword, and pretty happy with how it turned out. I enjoyed the ending portion of Skyward Sword. So you wouldn't know it, but it's actually right here at the north end of Skyloft, sort of this northeast area, on your way towards the waterfall. Just jump across these rocks and then walk over to that little statue-like thing on the left, and you'll notice that one of them is already in place, and we got the other one. And how fitting. right at the end of the game, right before ending the final dungeon, I'd take a suicide dive off the ledge. But yes, so you want to go and insert the little stone of the trials that we just got from the final silent realm. You want to insert into the statue, and this sort of triggers a cutscene of sorts. So enjoy. So after that really sweet cutscene, it's now time for the final dungeon. I've made all the necessary preparations. I've gotten the Hylian Shield. I have all 20 heart containers. I've upgraded some potions. I have all the upgrades from the scrap shop. It's pretty much ready. Time to go. Claw on over to the targets and enter the final dungeon of the game, Skykeep. And I will see you there in the next chapter.